Chairman of the Nigerians and Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, has assured that the Nigerian Mission in the United Arab Emirates is in contact with the stranded Nigerians in Dubai and have begun profiling after TVC News broke the news of the Save Our Soul message sent out by some of the stranded girls. The Commission, vested with the responsibility of ensuring the welfare of Nigerians outside the shores of the country, says the Nigerian Embassy in the UAE will recommend to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs the necessary steps to take once the profiling is completed. Moyo Thomas reports.
Please help us, Nigeria. We are in Dubai Immigration Deportation Center.
These Nigerians stranded at the holding center in Dubai reached out on Thursday requesting to be evacuated. They claim their efforts at reaching the Nigerian Embassy has not yielded results. Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission says the Consulate has reached out to them and that more will be known about the status of the stranded Nigerian nationals once they get profiled.
They are right now in the holding center and they are being profiled. Some of them have passports, some of them don't have passports. There are some children that actually have no form of identification. Some don't even remember the names with which they entered the country originally. So they need to be profiled. And then some actually, it's also important to ensure that some are not have committed a crime and are trying to just run away. So what the consulate is doing now is profiling everybody. And at the holding center, the profile is ongoing.
Nigerians in the UAE have lately been in the news for negative reasons, and this is a source of concern. She appeals to the Nigerians to be good ambassadors of the country and always be of the best behavior once outside the shores of Nigeria, as she assures of the good bilateral relations between Nigeria and the UAE.
There's no problem with the bilateral relations between Nigeria and the UAE. The problem is with us and our behavior. And we need to tell ourselves the home truth. We need to behave properly. And you see, the bad ones will always spoil the good. And we shouldn't allow that to happen. So we don't have a problem with country-to-country relationship. So we need to tell ourselves the truth, stop bad behavior, stop going to these places and stop taking crime to another person's country.
The total number of Nigerians stranded at the deportation camp in Dubai has not been ascertained until the profiling is completed. The Nigerian Mission will then advise on the next step of action. These recent happenings only underscore the importance of migrating with proper documents if need be to travel. It is important to once again reiterate to Nigerians that all travels under the guise of job hunt outside the shores of Nigeria could be a trap for trafficking, and it is important for everyone to be vigilant. Moyo Thomas, TVC News, Abuja.
For more on this development, let's speak with the chairman, Nigerians and Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiriwa, who joins us live via Zoom from Abuja. In that report, you mentioned that profiling of these stranded Nigerians is on. How long is that expected to last?
Well, that would depend on the consulate in Dubai. And if you talk to some of those at the holding center, they will tell you that the missions officials were actually there most of today. So it will depend on the mission, actually. And like I had earlier said, they will report back to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and give necessary advice. And I have to stress that when this happened and, we were told that there was a fake, in quote, WhatsApp message that was sent out to people, and then thousands rushed to the airport, a lot of them Africans. But the few Nigerians there were actually attended to by the mission, and they are somewhere being profiled, as I said. And profiling is important. It is very, very important. Well, so we'll wait on the mission who are working, on this to report back to the ministry.
Well, indeed, our sources mentioned that the embassy officials visited them, collected their passports, and they are saying that within the next week, they should have something reasonable response from their end. Let's talk about resolving this issue. What kind of resolution are we looking at?
Maybe I should be asking you to tell us what kind of resolution. I mean, you can't have hundreds of people just run to the airport and say, I'm leaving today. There are rules to follow. There are processes. And then we can't keep saying, oh, I didn't know I was trafficked. President Muhammadu Buhari actually has brought back over 10,000 Nigerians stranded in Libya, working with the International Organization for Migration. 4 planes were sent to Libya to bring them back. And during COVID, you remember that a lot of Nigerians were brought back from the UAE, free flights. So maybe they just ran to the airport expecting free flights and all that. Because really, like I've said it before, and I'll say it again, it's getting tougher out there. UAE is not joking with its laws. And unfortunately, as of course you know, we've managed to have some criminal activities, embarrassingly criminal activities by a few, very few Nigerians, that is about cultism, about, really terrible behavior that really is not acceptable. So you can't keep saying, oh, I didn't know when I got into trouble and this and that. But again, like I said, we wait on the Nigerian Mission, Nigerian Consulate in Dubai to advise the government on the next steps to take after the profiling. But we just can't keep doing this and say, oh, bring us back, when you know that you're going to get into trouble. And like I said earlier, and I'll repeat it again, it's getting tough. Now, because of all these reasons, UAE visa issues are tougher now. They've made it very, very tough. What they were not asking for, they don't ask for, because really, in fairness to them, they really, really have to ensure that these kind of things do not spoil the image of their own country.
But how much really are we doing as a country to educate our people, to sensitize them about the dangers of these risky missions?
So help us now, TVC and every media, each one teach one. We've been doing this sensitization for years, and I really believe, honestly speaking, that anybody who says, I don't know, knows, but just decides to take a risk. I think that is the reality of the situation. And I've handled quite a number of people that was never on the media that said, well, we thought we could take a risk. You can't take those risks anymore. And that is the reality. You can't take those risks anymore. And most of these people come back with nothing. You're in search of employment, but you come back with nothing. Rather than, take 1 or 2 things that is available in your own country. So really it's, I think it's gone beyond, I didn't know, or I'm ignorant. No, I think a lot of people now know. But they say, let's take the risk anyway. I spoke with a group, and they were told, out of 100 of you, maybe 1 person will make it. And you know what? They all clapped and said that 1 person will be me. And maybe, the other night, but everybody thinks that 1 person will be them. So we all need to embark on that sensitization and try to save the next person. And it has to be a whole collaboration, media, multi-sector, NAPTIP, foreign affairs, labor, and everybody, immigration. It has to be a multi-sector collaboration. And every one of us has a role to educate the next person. We just may be getting set to get into trouble.
Okay, you have mentioned that you believe a lot of people actually know. But in the case of trafficking, we seem to have dwelt so much on the trafficked. What about the trafficker? What's the mode of punishment, of discipline to ensure that they no longer embark on these exercises?
Well, I can't speak much on that. Trafficking is actually for the agency called NAPTIP. But from what I know, NAPTIP has been doing a lot to arrest traffickers. So you'll have to talk to NAPTIP on more of the traffickers that have been arrested and the penalties for that. But as long as traffickers are working around, I guess trafficking will never stop. But NAPTIP can give more information on the traffickers that have been arrested and what is being done now.
Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabirewa, thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7.
Thank you.